Across the country, ordinary Americans from all walks of life are taking whatever measures necessary to prepare.
I'm preparing my family for the total destruction of the power grid.
The Yellowstone supervolcano.
A financial collapse.
And protect themselves.
When survival's the goal, it's into the spider hole.
Fast, 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 fast. Go, 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 go.
From what they perceive is the fast approaching end of the world as we know it.
So I'm gonna use like this.
Next, we go inside the lives of 3 committed preppers
We gotta hurry,
who
hurry.
have devised extensive plans,
Let's grab these water tanks.
And food.
gone to great lengths,
Which one of you would like to be in the radiation suit?
I'm gonna pass out, Bradford.
and made huge personal sacrifices to ensure their very survival.
In my mind, I think the world's kind of falling apart, and it's only gonna get worse.
Come on, let's go.
The experts will assess their extreme preps and decide if they have what it takes to face Armageddon
All right, let's do this.
and to survive.
Get out of my way, I'm bigger than you.
Good night, everyone.
This is Doomsday Preppers. For over half a century, retired scientist Bruce Beach has been certain that the world will end.
This is going to be a universal catastrophe.
It's going to be sudden. I don't think there's going to be a 2-minute warning.
There's this great possibility.
Mankind can destroy itself. I think a nuclear war is inevitable.
In a catastrophe of this size, 80% of the population will die during the first 2 years. The things that will kill them are social disruption, plagues, lack of food, lack of heat, exposure. It's a random sort of thing as who's going to be saved and who isn't.
To save mankind from apocalyptic destruction, Bruce has taken it upon himself to build a haven for humanity. A unique place to sit out the end of the world.
This is a 10,000 square foot shelter for a nuclear war.
He built this nuclear shelter in 1985 as an underground orphanage, a place where a new generation could be saved from nuclear apocalypse.
Save the children. That's a basic human characteristic. They're our hope for the continuation of life and for building a new and better world.
Bruce's protected safe house is constructed from building blocks that many kids would consider familiar surroundings. 42 recycled school buses linked together and buried under 18 inches of concrete and 14 feet of earth.
School buses were built to a particular government standard, a very strong, rigid steel over the roofs.
School buses can support 1.5 times their weight without incurring damage and cost as little as $300 secondhand, making them a prepper favorite for bugout vehicles and even safe mobile homes.
We can have 500 people in here, but we have to have a number of people also to watch after the children. That's our #1 mission.
It has been estimated that if a global nuclear war occurred, up to 1 billion lives would be at risk in the months and years following. Bruce sees this shelter as a safe house where at least some could survive. He named it the successor to Noah's Ark, Ark 2.
Last time water, next time the fire. There are 20,000 of these weapons in the world. There's never a time in man's history when he's developed a weapon that he hasn't used it, and it's just, things are becoming more and more critical.
Because dangerous radiation can travel hundreds of miles from the source of a nuclear detonation, Bruce is worried that an attack on American missile bases in the central U.S. could send radioactive fallout rocketing towards Canada.
If there were a big nuclear war and a lot of bombing out there in North and South Dakota, that fallout goes up in the air and the jet stream grabs it. You study the maps for this. The predominant place that falls out is right here in southern Ontario. We're in the hottest spot of whole of North America for the amount of fallout that anybody gets.
Bruce and his wife Jean have been prepping this apocalyptic shelter for over 30 years. But as they get older, the wider beach clan regularly pitch in to keep it afloat.
My granddaughter and my grandson have done lots of work on this shelter.
We built the shed. We definitely do help clean and remove things from boxes into Tupperware containers and make sure everything's sanitary.
I help with some plumbing, some electricity work, so people can live down there when it's the right time.
Go in there. Okay, there we are.
There we go.
Bruce is in the process of teaching his grandkids, Evan and Shayna, the way of the Ark. And today, he is going over the admissions process.
We have these gates that we close. If we aren't taking anyone in, then we have the heavy door. Okay, kiddos, this is the way people come into the shelter. I'm going to explain what we do for the admission process for them here, so that you'll be able to explain this to other people and help with it when the time comes.
If a nuclear blast is reported, the Beach family will head to the Ark and start taking in young refugees.
We're going to say to people, well, we have room for your children, but we don't have room for you. That's the nature of life. This is the lifeboat.
The first thing that we do with people when we bring them in is we have to decontaminate them. If they have any measurable radiation, that means they have to be stripped, get in the shower, washed off.
Even a simple shower can remove many harmful radioactive materials from the skin. So experts recommend that you wash yourself and remove contaminated clothing as soon as you are exposed to radiation.
Which one of you would like to be in the radiation suit?
I will.
You will? Okay. You want to be in a radiation suit too? Sure.
Once clean, each of the Ark's inhabitants will wear sterilized protective suits.
There.
Suit too tall for this.
In addition, on your back, we have stencils to stencil your name, because looking at anybody from the back, you can't tell who they are. They all look the same unless we have these names on it.
And Bruce even has a plan for those he cannot take into the Ark.
Okay, you're doing good work, troops. Keep it up.
This weekend, Shayna and her mom, Bahia, are cleaning and putting together go-away kits, packs that will help people live outside of the Ark.
So we're sending them away with these radiation detectors because we don't have any more capacity in the shelter.
The different ones have different strengths, I think.
Because you cannot see, smell, or feel nuclear radiation, detectors like these dosimeters are often an essential part of preppers' survival kits.
The gold, black pieces.
They will allow people outside the Ark to avoid areas of intense fallout and treat or isolate people already affected by radiation.
We're getting cleaned up and ready to go.
I'm going to trap myself in here one day and I'll never be able to get out.
Lots of people don't understand Grandpa at all, so they think he's pretty eccentric. People are always asking me questions. What's the bomb shelter like? And I'm sure you get asked questions like that too when you talk to your friends. You know, in high school it's hard doing, your family's a little different than everybody else's, so you have to know that you're here to help them and that you love them no matter what. This weekend we probably cleaned out 30 huge boxes of these dosimeters, ready to go.
This is a major part of our life, just as much as it is Grandpa's. It's his dream and his goal, so one day it will be our dream and our goal to finish what he has started.
Y'all still stand up here for a minute.
Beyond his family, Bruce wants his local community to know that they have somewhere safe to go during a nuclear war. So today, he is showing local school kids around the Ark.
Okay, come on down, guys.
This is like an underground submarine. We're trying to get younger people involved. The more people that you have in your community, the more resources that you have.
All righty, this way.
Once inside the shelter, the 500 young refugees will sleep in one of the 5 school buses dedicated to bunk beds.
This bunk room is for 96 children, and we put 2 small children under the age of 5 foot to foot in each of the bunks. We sleep the children 12 hours a day in 2 shifts of 48.
Bruce's rotating sleep system is similar to that used on real submarines and allows him to house not just 250, but 500 people in the Ark.
All the bunk rooms are very much like this.
Bruce expects that his refugees will have to stay inside the Ark for weeks, maybe months, to avoid the worst of the radiation outside. And while they are underground, Bruce will have to feed hundreds of hungry mouths, so he has spent 30 years stockpiling literally tons of food.
And you should take a peek down our pot.
Our cook says with this pot and his oven in the next one, that he can give a roll and a biscuit to 3,000 people and a soup to 3,000 people a day.
I didn't think it would be this big. It's like extensive, it's huge.
It's pretty mind-blowing to think that it can fit so many people underground, and that's just unreal.
All righty, come in this way. You all want to be in here.
One of the hazards of living underground for an extended period is making sure you have enough air to breathe. At full capacity and without proper air circulation, Bruce's 10,000-foot shelter would run out of oxygen in approximately half a day.
Okay. One of the important things about problems in the shelter, one of the things we have to be concerned about, is being able to move air anywhere we want to.
So Bruce has devised a rather unusual and cost-effective air circulation system.
And this is one of the systems we've designed. Well, I thought it was going to go down the hallway. I could have redirected it.
This strong line of garbage bags can distribute 300 cubic feet of air from the outside vents to different locations in the shelter.
My wife spent hours and hours taping.
Do you ever get tired of waiting for the world to end?
Many people say, look at that crazy old man, how he's wasted his life. Out there always worrying about the world's going to end. When instead, he could have been out playing golf. You know, getting that little white ball out there in the hole, and this wouldn't have been meaningful to me. So we're going to open the steel door here. This is the back door to the shelter. Many people think that I am obsessive. I guess it depends on what one is obsessed with. If they're obsessed with dedicating their life to humanity, and well, then maybe that's a good obsession.
Bruce's shelter was built as a second Noah's Ark, a unique haven from a nuclear apocalypse, but it has never officially been named until now.
I think it's awesome.
In rural Ontario, Canada, a 10,000 square foot underground shelter named Ark 2 sits ready to save hundreds of children from nuclear Armageddon.
Ark 2 purpose is to help those who survive to rebuild society. We are not about survival. We are about reconstruction.
Bruce Beach and his wife Jean have dedicated over 30 years to the maintenance of this unique space, constructed from 42 recycled and buried school buses.
Jean really did help me a lot about the shelter. She's made a lot of sacrifices. She's never bought any new clothes, and I don't know how many years. We don't take vacations. This is our lifestyle.
It's been very different from most people.
Right, it has.
Over the years, Bruce has created a network of Ark 2 preppers based all around the United States.
I may not live through to see it, but I've certainly spread this idea to thousands and thousands of people already.
His latest collaborative project is an off-grid communication system that can be used as the Ark's lifeline to the outside world during a nuclear war. Tonight, he is meeting with Greg Franklin and Lisa Maggiore to go over the details.
Local communication are going to be a very, very important factor in the recovery process for security, to know what's happening around you, to know where it's safe to go.
The secondary effect of a nuclear detonation is an EMP, a wave of electromagnetic energy powerful enough to bring down the grid.
Every method of communication that we have, whether it be cell phones or telephones or internet, all rely on extensive infrastructure, which will almost certainly be destroyed in our scenario.
So they are building a ham radio system, widely used by preppers because it relies only on naturally existing radio waves to transmit messages and can work independently from the electrical grid.
Well, this will be run battery powered, and those will be charged by solar power.
Lisa's communicating with Toronto right now, about 50 miles distance. We're bouncing the signal off the ionosphere about 400 kilometers above us, and that signal is returning directly down. Even local police services don't have that capability.
Bruce and Greg plan to distribute these radios to key members of the local community, so in the event of a nuclear war, they can keep in touch with the outside world about supplies, radiation levels, and security.
Communication is going to be key to survival. Hopefully we'll be able to start distributing these units in the very near future, and certainly hopefully before the missiles fly.
The name Ark 2 was coined decades ago, but the exterior of the shelter gives away no clues as to what is inside. Now, that is about to change. Bruce and his wife Jean have gathered the Beach family together to mark the occasion.
A few weeks ago, he called me up and just said, I know you're a carver, and would you be able to give me something rustic? I remembered that there was a man who had buried 42 buses, and then all of a sudden, they all came together. It was worth just doing the sign just so I could talk to him.
The Ark is about our service to humanity. And whether or not I pass the Ark on to the grandchildren is irrelevant. What is important that I pass on to my grandchildren is a dedication of service to humanity. So that's what my life is about. What my legacy will be, I have no idea. I may be entirely wrong, written off, forgotten. The world may never know about me 10, 20 years from now, you know.
So the first ark was for what?
Yeah.
For water. This one's for fire. Fire. There you go.
We always see ourselves coming back here, finishing up what Grandpa started and improving it.
His project is very inspirational. Just tell us how far a man can go to follow his dream.
I think it's awesome.
Really special.
Fits perfectly right in there.
A global arsenal of nearly 20,000 weapons makes the possibility of a nuclear incident a real, tangible threat. However, the United States and Russia are moving towards a policy of nuclear disarmament aimed at reducing the likelihood of global nuclear war. New father Jeremy fears his year-old son will face a future filled with hardship due to the depletion of oil reserves. Can they outrun the desperate hordes in their retired army truck? Jeremy lives outside Salt Lake City, Utah, with his wife Kelly and their son Xander. He's the owner of a digital media company.
Okay, let's roll it. I'm kind of a new dad. I've got a 1-year-old, and he is so much fun. Love being a father.
Okay.
But Jeremy and Kelly aren't thinking of college when they plan for Xander's future.
I'm preparing for the collapse of society due to peak oil.
We gotta hurry.
The term peak oil refers to the eventual decline in the supply of oil reserves. If oil becomes harder to get, the price will increase past the point when people can afford to buy it. The U.S. alone consumes 20 million barrels of oil every day, and global demand is projected to grow by 1/4 by 2030.
I think drastic changes could happen literally in a matter of a couple of years from now. All it takes is for the demand for oil to outstrip the supply, and we've been on the razor's edge of that for a really long time. My worst case scenario is that oil exporting countries stop exporting and gas pumps start running dry around America. Then that just has a cascading effect across our entire society. People won't be able to go to work, and if you can't go to work, then infrastructure starts to fail.
With 86% of Americans commuting to work by car, Jeremy fears society will grind to a halt.
Once infrastructure starts to fail, we could eventually even see the grid go down. And if the grid goes down, society as we know it will be very, very changed.
My first reaction to my husband's desire to start prepping was a little scared. I actually walked away and was like trying to ignore him because I didn't want to admit it. It took me about a year to finally come to terms with the idea of prepping. In my mind, I think the world's kind of falling apart, and it's only going to get worse.
I'd like to think of myself actually as a fairly balanced person, and I don't think this is an obsession, it's just a precaution.
After peak oil, Jeremy believes rolling blackouts will be common. Without the grid, basic utilities and services will cease to function, including one of life's vital conveniences. tap water. So Jeremy and Kelly have identified their nearest source of water, their hot tub.
When I first told my wife that we might be drinking water out of the hot tub, she seemed a little bit reluctant, but I think we both decided that it would be safe once we'd filtered it. This is our emergency supply. We've got, what, 450 gallons of water ready to go.
Jeremy and Kelly are able to ration their hot tub water by using the drainage tube. This allows them to preserve a precious resource.
I never would have thought that getting water from the hot tub.
Having clean water is essential to survival, so in a grid-down situation, it is imperative to have a water purification system. The 450 gallons of water in the hot tub could hydrate Jeremy, Kelly, and Xander for about 8 months.
2? Are you kidding me? Okay, I can't believe we're actually making hot chocolate out of hot tub water. Okay.
Hot tub, hot chocolate.
Nice.
Yum.
That's actually not bad.
Tastes fine.
Nice. Okay, that works. Even when the grid goes down and the world is going crazy, my home and my family are the most important thing to me, and keeping that part of our life as normal as possible is very important to me.
Even though he is purifying water for his family, Jeremy is still concerned about infections and disease.
One of the concerns in the post-collapse world is the lack of access to medical facilities, antibiotics, things like that.
80% of the active ingredients used in American drugs are made overseas, and without the fuel to ship them, emergency treatment would be in short supply. So Jeremy is leaving nothing to chance.
Turns out that the antibiotics used for fish tanks is exactly the same antibiotics as are prescribed for humans. So you can actually get human antibiotics at a pet store.
Common antibiotics like amoxicillin are marketed under different names for aquatic use. Fish antibiotics are a favorite among preppers to stockpile because they are widely available without a prescription or pharmacist.
Part of being a prepper is just being prepared for anything, and that includes getting sick. And if there's no doctor available to give you a prescription or simply run out of antibiotics, you've got to have them stockpiled.
Antibiotics and hot tub hot chocolate won't save Jeremy and his family if their community falls prey to violence. So Jeremy has a serious backup plan.
I just call it the beast most of the time.
Experts disagree about when we will reach the peak of oil production. Some estimate it will peak as soon as 2035. Jeremy believes it already has.
I personally believe that actually peak oil has happened. I think we saw that from the 2008 financial collapse. It was actually a result of an energy shock from 2007 or so. And I think in the future we'll see more of those, and they're going to be even faster and more striking.
Jeremy and his wife Kelly believe nowhere, not even their home, will be safe after the peak oil crash.
If society really does collapse to the point where your neighbors become desperate or people are raiding your neighborhood for your supplies, it might become necessary to bug out.
Jeremy believes a peak oil crisis will lead to social collapse, a situation that has led to torture, cannibalism, and mass executions around the world. Jeremy and Kelly are prepared to leave everything behind to protect their son, and Jeremy has found ironic means to that end. He calls it the beast.
Get out of my way, I'm bigger than you.
Jeremy found the beast online and purchased it used from a prop company for $3,500.
When my husband Jeremy came to me for the first time and told me he wanted to buy an army truck, I honestly thought he was nuts. Why in the world do we need an army truck? Where are we gonna park an army truck? We live in the suburbs. I thought he was insane.
And before it was a civilian vehicle, the beast served in Desert Storm.
So this truck is an actual military vehicle. It's called the M35, or affectionately known as the Deuce and a Half.
The M35 is a favored transport vehicle of the U.S. Army. It can carry 5,000 pounds of cargo off-road and up to 10,000 pounds on-road. If Kelly and Jeremy decide to bug out, the beast will offer them transportation a means to carry supplies, and even shelter.
And so when we started talking about that, I started realizing, you know what, this is a fabulous idea. It's shelter, it's also transportation. It's got a huge compartment. We can put all of our water, we can put all of our food, we can put the bunk bed in there, have a place to sleep, and really shelter our family in. So if we do need to get out of town, we do need to leave our home and flee, we have a vehicle to do so in.
But if Jeremy and Kelly take to the road, they're going to need fuel to power a mobile lifestyle. And while it might look like a gas guzzler, the beast is actually quite flexible when it comes to fuel.
This truck is a multi-fuel vehicle, and so if we do have peak oil and certain kinds of fuel become really, really hard to come by, this will literally run on just about any liquid fuel. It'll run on diesel, which it prefers. You can put gas in it, kerosene. Jet fuel doesn't like the octane, but it'll work. But most importantly to me, it actually can run on used motor oil.
Motor oil is used to lubricate an internal combustion engine's moving parts. Most people recognize motor oil as the stuff their mechanic changes out every 3,000 miles. But one man's trash is another man's treasure.
In a doomsday scenario, this truck, it'd get us anywhere, and it'd get us there using a fuel that pretty much nobody else needs.
With roughly 250 million passenger cars in America, Jeremy will be able to siphon fuel from a virtually unlimited supply after a peak oil doomsday. But for safety, he wants to make sure he can at least get his family out of harm's way.
We're hoping to stockpile around 1,000 to 1,500 gallons of used motor oil for us to use in the case of an emergency.
Oh, that is one bad truck.
Today, Jeremy and his friend Graydon visit a local service station. It's just the place to find large quantities of used motor oil awaiting disposal.
Gary.
Yes.
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
I called earlier about getting some of your used motor oil.
Oh, yeah. That's
Awesome.
fine.
Yeah.
What do you use it for?
See that big army truck out there?
Seen you pull in.
Yeah, it runs on used motor oil.
Yeah, if it works good, I might look into doing something like that too, because I
Yeah.
got lots of used motor oils.
That's very true.
Yeah,
you
you're
do.
welcome to it. The first time I saw that big truck, I thought it was being invaded. I didn't know what it was. It's pretty big.
I feel like a fireman.
Siphoning used motor oil is a messy job, requiring special tools and elbow grease.
Get this thing on here.
Jeremy has 3 liquid storage tanks, 1 on board and 2 more in a secure location for stockpiling used motor oil.
Okay, go get her fired up. Sweet.
Each can hold up to 400 gallons.
Looks good, and looks like we got about 300 gallons out of these guys.
Jeremy and Graydon filter the oil through a sock to catch any debris, like dirt, metal scrapings, and other fine particles that may be left behind from prior use. With their new motor oil stores, Jeremy and Kelly believe they now have enough oil to drive halfway across the country. So they are putting themselves to the test.
Hey, Jared, we gotta hurry. We gotta hurry, hurry.
Let's grab these water tanks.
And food. Oh, these are heavy. What else? Swing bag. Grab the tent, grab the rope, hurry.
I got the solar oven.
Gun. You got the gun? Hurry.
I got the gun.
I'll get the baby.
Okay.
But if they go mobile, Jeremy can't do all the driving himself. He needs a competent co-pilot.
You want to learn to drive this thing?
I sure do. I think it'd be fun.
It's an army truck from the 70s. It doesn't have power steering. It doesn't have all the smooth transmission, shifting gears that our average vehicles do.
Mommy's gonna drive. How scary is that, huh?
All right, let's do this. It's not your traditional gear shifting.
No. You're gonna go to second pretty quick. So get moving, check your mirror.
Oh my gosh.
That's first, go to second.
Woo!
That's reverse.
This is hard.
Yeah. Let's go do some donuts out here in this dirt field. Here we go, we're going off-road. Yeah, baby. Woohoo! Cool. Yeah. Xander's sleeping through it all. Back. Woohoo! Punch it, punch it, punch it. Get plenty of momentum. And punch it. Oh, yeah. Woohoo! Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. Just go. Manhandle it. Yeah.
Or woman handle it.
Like aggressive with her. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, buddy. We're going up.
As long as I've got my son on my lap and my husband in the driver's seat, that's all I need.
Jeremy, the experts practical preppers, commend you for taking the first steps in being prepared. The Beast is impressive, and alternate fuel sources will be a great asset. The truck will also be able to push stalled vehicles out of the way. We suggest investing in a centrifuge. This would clean used oil faster.
I looked a little bit into centrifugal systems, but didn't know a lot about it, so something I'll definitely look into.
You should have bug-out bags packed and ready to grab. The truck should be stocked and awaiting departure at all times.
I agree. We're actually putting some items in the truck, but individual bug-out bags is always been on our plans and just something we haven't gotten around to, and I do think it should be a priority.
Since National Geographic was here, we've done our best to take the experts' advice. Specifically, we've actually finally got our bug-out bags and our get-home bags ready to go.
And we have also loaded up our truck with more provisions and supplies, so in the event we needed to just jump in our truck and go, we'd be able to do so.
While some experts believe peak oil has already occurred, others believe it is decades away. There are so many variables that creating an accurate projection is difficult. But the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which houses the largest stockpile of government-owned crude oil in the world, would last only 38 days. Bradford Frank is a psychiatrist who believes a killer flu pandemic will hit America. But his wife and daughter have their doubts.
Well, you almost run out of money, and you almost run out of me.
Will Dr. Frank's doomsday prescription be enough to satisfy his family and the experts? Bradford Frank is a psychiatrist who lives in sunny San Diego, California.
That's very risky.
Like a consummate professional, he cares deeply about the well-being of his patients. But he's also concerned about the end of the world.
I'm preparing for a worldwide pandemic that will end life as we know it. Awesome. Sometimes people refer to me as Dr. Doom. I think that most people would look at me and say, he's a nutcase. He's a psychiatrist, he's obviously crazy, and that's the reason that I don't talk to a lot of people about prepping. I went to Yale and studied infectious diseases, and that's where I started to get interested in influenza, and in particular, bird flu.
Bradford is prepping for an avian flu that would wipe out millions of Americans.
Super influenza, the superbug, is not a completely new event.
He believes a new, extremely contagious form of bird flu will transmit to humans, then spread through the population like wildfire.
In the United States, grave sites couldn't be dug fast enough, bodies stacked in the streets like cordwood.
The World Health Organization considers 100 million infections a conservative estimate for a global pandemic.
People would become hysterical, there would be chaos throughout the world. It's not a question if it's going to occur again, it's only a question of when. I really want to go.
Bradford wants to get his whole family involved in prepping.
I wanted to just kind of go over a couple of things in case I'm not at home when there's a problem. And
so he has asked his wife, Naren, to help him inventory his medical supplies.
I know you're going to be, I am able to obtain antibiotics and other medications because I am a physician. I actually buy these in large quantities. So we have all these medicines. It's a little bit hard to know what to do with the antibiotics if you're not a doctor.
After a pandemic, Bradford believes that hospitals will become hot zones for infection. So he is stockpiling antibiotics to ensure his family never needs to leave the house for medical care.
Okay, so yeah, this one is still good. Let's see, these are the medicines that I got for the bird flu. This expired in 2006. That's not good.
I don't know why you spend so much money on that.
I did. These were very expensive medicines.
That's money.
Bradford has spent about $15,000 on prepping to date, and his wife thinks he's making a bad investment.
I told him, do you like to think all negative things and scary things, and nothing's gonna happen.
In the global pandemic Bradford fears, the lethal virus would be passed from person to person through the air. If it was a particularly virulent strain, standing even 6 feet from a contagious person could be deadly.
Gotta get these masks on, these N95 masks on.
Today he has asked Naren and his daughter Alexandra to practice wearing N95 surgical masks. These masks help filter out 95% of air particles, including ones that would carry the
Put
virus.
that on your mouth.
And Bradford has stored 400 of them.
Are you good? You on? Take some breaths. We run drills like this because it's very important that the family understands what to do in an emergency. The way you get the virus is by human interaction. It's transmitted through the air.
I'm gonna pass out, Bradford.
No, it just feels that way.
He's my husband. He have his opinion, and I have my opinion. It's okay. If we compromise, it's okay. That's what the marriage all about. But my husband, Brad, is not compromised.
Despite Naren's objections, Bradford has stockpiled hundreds of food cans and 1,000 pounds of rice.
It looks like any house, but behind these closed doors, there are all these preparations. Alexandra, can you come here and help me, honey?
Alexandra is charged with helping them preserve their supplies. Bradford considers rice the perfect prepper food because it's inexpensive, contains protein, and has a long shelf life.
Can you give me a bucket? So the way that I store the rice is to put it into a food-grade bucket. Within that bucket, I put a Mylar bag that's also designed for food.
He then adds one extra step that will ensure his rice lasts for up to 10 years.
Okay, here we go. I have a special technique where I've purchased a small nitrogen tank. The nitrogen goes into the bucket. Nitrogen is heavier than oxygen. You hear it?
Yeah, I hear it. Can feel it too.
With the nitrogen pushing the oxygen out, flame should go out because there's no oxygen. Oxygen burns, nitrogen doesn't burn. See?
Using this method, Bradford makes sure his rice is sealed off without exposure to oxygen, which is the key to keeping it fresh long term.
Why do we need the rice to last so long?
I don't need it because I probably won't be here, but you might need it just in case there's a terrible catastrophe and chaos in society and there's no food. We don't have any food.
I don't really know how I feel about my dad being so concerned about bird flu. He lets it go to his head too much sometimes, and I feel like he could be a little neurotic. But it's good that we have a little backup plan, I guess.
My daughter thinks that I am, quote, paranoid. I say yes, I think I am paranoid, but what I would refer to as practical paranoia.
Bradford has stored enough food to last his family for a year. After a pandemic, he believes public places like supermarkets will become hotbeds of deadly infection, so they'll need to live off their stockpiles.
I don't believe in have all this food. I don't want to have all this food. When you want to survive, you find anything to survive. Like the rabbit outside the back and the snake and the crickets. I eat anything I can find.
Naren does not see the wisdom in prepping for a future pandemic, even though she knows more about survival than just about anybody.
My beautiful wife is Cambodian and was involved in the Khmer Rouge War in Cambodia, where her primary relatives were all killed.
Naren was 19 when she escaped from a prison camp in Cambodia during the Khmer Rouge genocide that killed 2 million people.
It's 1977 when they start killing. I start to run. You run, steal food, whatever you have to do to survive. I'm the only one that survived in my family. Yes. I don't need a lot of food, and I don't need a lot of medicine. I know how to survive in a different way.
In tight, yeah.
But is it possible that Bradford is taking his prepping too far?
Wow!
And what will his family think when he shows them their bug-out location for the first time?
You know, it's a place that we can come to. Come on, it's an emergency.
San Diego psychiatrist Bradford Frank has spent 10 years and thousands of dollars prepping to survive an avian flu pandemic that will kill millions. His wife and daughter think it's all a waste.
Well, you almost run out of money, and you almost run out of me.
Bradford is determined to keep his family safe, even if they don't appreciate his efforts. If a deadly pandemic sweeps through San Diego, he fears infected people will target doctors' houses in search of medicine. So he's stepping up his security preparations.
So we're gonna set it up on the end.
He's replacing his sliding doors with a 1/4-inch thick sheet of ballistic glass designed to withstand a point-blank shot from a 9mm and whatever else a potential invader might throw at it.
Okay, we're all finished here. Okay, let's look at this. It's supposed to withstand anything. Okay, try that one. Go! Oh! Ah! Wow! Ah! 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 Oh, awesome. Nothing is getting through that window.
If a flu pandemic hits, Bradford fears that the deadly virus could spread quickly between neighbors. So the final part of his plan is to secure an isolated bug-out location as far away from other people as possible. Today, he's taking his family there for the first time.
There could be so many people trying to leave that the roads will get packed up, so we have to be one of the first people to leave.
How can be the first people to leave? You have about 1 million food is in there.
Well, we're not going to take everything. We're just going to take what we can
Here we
grab.
go again.
Come on, girls. Come on, let's go. The number one protection in a global pandemic is being away from other people who may be infectious. Okay, it's getting dark, so let's get going. Everybody get a helmet.
This is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Yes.
We're having fun though, aren't we?
No.
If Bradford needs to quarantine his family from a deadly airborne virus, he believes this spot, a gem mine located 2.5 hours from San Diego, may be ideal. It's far enough away from a population center to keep his family away from contagious people, and close enough to reach quickly if a pandemic breaks out.
Okay. Now this is just like a ladder, and we're just going to go in, kind of crawling down the ladder.
You go first.
Alexander, you follow me, honey.
Serious. If you have to live with your father, he's serious. Just do it.
To get into the cave, the Frank family must climb down 80 feet.
Coming, honey?
I'm coming.
Bradford believes the isolated location of this cave further safeguards his family from possible infection.
I have just a very powerful survival instinct that would propel me to continue to scratch and claw my way forward. And see, honey, you say I never take you places. And look at this. This is fabulous. So this is our home away from home at the end of the world. What do you think?
When he said looking for a cave, it feels like I go through war again. So why we have to go to the cave? So bring back old memory and brings food and feel like I'll be starving again, scary again, I'm gonna die.
While escaping the Khmer Rouge, Naren survived by hiding in a cave for 2 months.
And you can't burn firewood, people find us. You can't have any light, any fire, anything. So you can't cook, and you have to sleep next to each other because it's very cold sometimes.
No noise, no fire,
No
no
noise.
lights.
Maybe that's why I don't want to be down here in the cave.
Before I came here today, I wasn't really too aware that my wife had spent some time in a cave. I think she probably told me that years ago, but it's not something that we talk about very often because it's so painful for her to discuss.
Can we go home? I'm tired, want to go home.
I'm not sure if this cave is going to really work out for my new Doomsday home, given the fact that my wife is so opposed to it.
Bradford, the experts, practical preppers, think your medical background will make you extremely valuable in times of chaos and civil unrest.
Yeah, I think so.
However, if you ultimately choose to bug out to an isolated location, we do not suggest a cave. A cave is susceptible to moisture, which will destroy your food stores.
It's certainly not the perfect solution, and we'll consider possibly a stronger shelter. There are advantages and disadvantages with everything, that's for sure. Since National Geographic was here several months ago, I was carjacked at gunpoint while on vacation. Things turned out well and the perpetrators are behind bars, but I actually hope that this experience is a positive one for my family and helping them to understand that bad things can happen even when you least expect them.
While avian bird flu spreads relatively freely in wild and domestic bird species, it does not normally affect human beings. Cases of interspecies transmission from bird to human are sporadic at best. And while an influenza pandemic is likely to occur in the future, it is unclear when and how severe such an event would be.